p.m. from the Cowboys Radio Network.
Snap on third down. Back to throw. Good pickup block recovered into the end zone. It is caught by Schultz. Touchdown over McLeod. And that is saving the drive. Wow.
Cowboys would go on to win that game 28-20. Dallas is now 4-1 since quarterback Dak Prescott returned in Week 7, averaging an NFL best 33.8 points per game in that time. So, look, the offense seems to be working very well, and yet there's all this conversation from inside the Cowboys building about trying to go out and get Odell Beckham Jr. and add him as sort of a final piece to that offense. So, Rob Ninkovich, do the Cowboys need that?
No, I don't think the Cowboys need that. And listen, offensively, there's only so many possessions and there's only so many touches to go around. I get it. OBJ is a guy that you see as a polarizing figure who made a heck of a catch about 10 years ago. I get he was great last year in the Super Bowl, but he also hurt his knee, and it's the second time he hurt his knee, and that concerns me. Having two ACLs, because I know from experience having torn my ACL that when you come back, you don't feel that great. And to stick your foot in the ground and to do everything that you have to do as a receiver, I don't think the Cowboys are going to get the benefits out of it from signing him. What the public and the outside fan base is going to want to expect from a player like OBJ if they do sign him. So I don't think it's a great fit.
What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, the Cowboys absolutely need to sign Odell Beckham Jr. And guys, I get it. The Cowboys offense since Dak has stepped in has looked unbelievable. Over the last 4 games, you're talking about 22 scoring drives to only 10 punts. So for context, if those numbers are even, your offense is outstanding. But we're not talking about playing against the Chicago Bears or the Minnesota Vikings or the New York Giants or the Green Bay Packers. We're talking about playing against the elite of the elite in the NFC. And if you look at the Cowboys receivers, they've only got 2 touchdowns outside of CeeDee Lamb's receiving touchdowns this year. They need a guy to come in like Odell that can win against tight man coverage. We saw it ended up being a problem in their playoff game against the 49ers. Dak Prescott was 13 of 26 targeted receivers in that game with a 26 QBR. They need to go out and get another guy that has the potential to be a difference maker in one-on-one situations in the passing game. Odell fits the bill.
I guess that's the question, though, right? Potential. Yeah, Nico, what do you got?
No, I have a question for Canty. If you sign OBJ, how many touches should he have when he comes in? Like, you sign him in December, how many touches, how many catches is he going to have through December?
I don't know how many catches that he's going to have in December, Nico, but the whole point is making sure he's ready for January because the Cowboys have title aspirations. I don't care about the regular season. What we're trying to do is position ourselves to make a run at winning the division, but then also to make sure we have the very best chance at being able to make a run in the playoffs. It looks like they're going to have to go the wild card route as things are right now. And guys, the last decade, there have only been 2 quarterbacks that have been able to do that. Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Dak Prescott ain't either one of those dudes, so you want to give your quarterback as much firepower as you can in order to help him accomplish the goal.
And we'll see what happens. Odell, obviously, significant impact for the Rams last year, but did suffer that significant knee injury in the Super Bowl, so the Cowboys have to figure some things out about how healthy he is. We'll obviously stay on top of this story as it moves along. But now, we want to go on a rivalry week in college football. Look at this slate of games. Notre Dame is going to look to play spoiler against USC. The Irish have won 4 straight in this series. However, USC is 10-1 this year and has scored 40 or more points in 9 of those games. Clemson is going to host South Carolina Saturday at noon on ABC. The Gamecocks have lost 7 straight games against the Tigers, matching the longest losing streak by either school in the history of that series. And then Ohio State and Michigan will meet as undefeated teams for the first time since 2006. The winner clinches a spot in the Big Ten championship game and will be a near lock for the playoff. How much of a lock? Look at this. The All-State playoff predictor gives the Wolverines a 97% chance to get in if they win and a 75% chance if they lose. Meanwhile, the Buckeyes would still have an 87% chance to get in with a loss Saturday at the Shoe, and you see there 99% chance with a win. Joey Galloway joins us now with Sam Acho still with us. Michigan comes into this game as 7.5-point underdog. Somebody said in my ear during the break it might already be up to 8. Joey, how does Michigan pull this off, if they can?
Well, they have to run the ball, number one. And I'm not sure about the health of Blake Corum. I'm not sure Donovan Edwards will be playing. But they need one of those two guys to play in this game if they're going to have a chance to win. And not because they just have to run over the defense of Ohio State, but because their offense comes from their ability to run the ball. J.J. McCarthy, the play action passes, all of those come because Blake Corum has been so good this year running the football. And if they can't do that, I'm not sure they can win this game.
And defensively, they're going to have to try and slow down the number 2 offense in all college football. Ohio State averages 46 points per game. That's number 2 in all college football. Now, statistically, Michigan's defense is number 1 in some categories, number 2 in some categories. But they haven't played a team like Ohio State. They played teams like UConn, like Hawaii, like Colorado State. That's where it can help buffer those stats. And so you got to. There are also injuries to Ohio State's running backs as well. That's going to be a big factor. But we all know it's those receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr., some of those guys. That's where you're going to have to slow down and stop if you want to find a way to win this game.
I wonder if that run game that Joey talks about is key to helping out that defense, maybe keep Ohio State off the field a little bit. Flip it to the other side. Ohio State looking for revenge after losing this game last year. What's the key for them?
It's going to be that offense. And think about it. Michigan hasn't beat Ohio State in Columbus since November 18th, year 2000. C.J. Stroud, the quarterback for Ohio State, wasn't even born. And so it's going to be sticking to their offense, and obviously Jim Knowles, the new defensive coordinator, shutting down the run. Ohio State has to shut down the run of Michigan, and then offensively have to be what they've been all season long, minus the Northwestern game. You have to be explosive on offense, not just passing the ball, running it as well. So you have to be dynamic offensively, and then defensively make Michigan pass the rock.
Joey, these teams are ranked number 2 and 3 right now in the country. Should the loser still have a case for the making the playoff?
If Ohio State loses this game, they'll still be in the conversation, but they're going to need some help. They're going to need Clemson to lose. They're going to need USC to lose, and that will make their path a whole lot easier because they played Notre Dame the first game of the season, which is looking like a much better win now than it did midway through the season when Notre Dame took some tough losses. But now Notre Dame ranked number 15, and because Ohio State beat that team, Notre Dame will be a team that has beaten Clemson, and if Notre Dame wins this weekend coming up, they will have beaten USC. So Ohio State will have that chip in their pocket that they beat the team that knocked off those other teams. Whereas Acho just mentioned, the teams that Michigan played before they got into their Big Ten schedule, which is Hawaii, Colorado State, UConn might be the best out of those 3 teams. It would be tough because now Michigan only has the win against number 11 Penn State on their resume with a very impressive win. They ran them out of the stadium. But that would be their only key win of the season. So if they lose this one, it would be tough for Michigan to stay in the conversation.
Yeah, I'm with that 100%. That's the thing. LSU was on the outside looking in. If LSU beats Georgia, different conversation. LSU loses, now there's opportunity for Ohio State because of their non-conference schedule. But Michigan wouldn't have as much of a conversation or opportunity because their strength of schedule is so weak. And so USC is also on the outside looking in. But USC, if they went out, they have a conversation as well to be in there. So those are the teams, LSU, USC, they're the ones vying for that last spot. But a loser in a conference championship, even if it's Ohio State, they're likely going to be on the outside looking in without, as Joey mentioned, a lot of help.
All right, so a lot of urgency here, maybe a little bit more from the Michigan side. Let's pick the game. Joey, who wins this game? Yeah.
Ohio State wins this game. They're at home. They're the better football team. And it would be unfortunate, honestly, if Blake Corum doesn't get a chance to play because he's had a terrific season with the 1,400 yards, 18 touchdowns. You would hate to see a team come into this type of game and not be fully loaded. So I hope that Blake Corum does get a chance to play in this game, but I believe the Buckeyes win.
Joey, why did you laugh when they asked you who wins the game? What was the laugh about?
He's not going to pick Michigan.
Well, Acho, as you know, and I've sat in the studio with you when Texas has a big game. And you know, even though we do this for a living now as our jobs, and we try to stay neutral, it's impossible in the rivalry games. Ohio State wins this game. I would pick them if they weren't ranked, and Michigan was ranked number 3. Ohio State wins. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I mean, the question is going to come down to I believe, will Michigan be able to pass the ball? And so far they haven't. J.J. McCarthy's ranked 84th when it comes to passing yards with Michigan quarterback. They've had to rely on their running game. Ohio State doesn't. Even if Mayan Williams is injured or Travion Henderson is injured, they've got young guys who can play as well. And even if those running backs are hurt, get it to the receivers. So offensively, I think Ohio State is too much of a powerhouse. And Joey went there, so I think I'm going to pick him too.
There you go. He's not here. You can safely pick the other team if you want. Anyway, thanks, guys. That is the biggest rivalry game of the weekend, but it's certainly not the only one. College football rivalry weekend rolls on tonight. Florida takes on number 16 Florida State. And then tomorrow, number 6 USC hosts number 15 Notre Dame. Both those games begin at 7:30.